My little pony, my little pony. Ah.
Hello everybody, this is the Christian Brony and welcome to my review of the first two episodes of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, simply called Friendship is Magic Part 1 and Part 2.
Forever?
There's a world full of beautiful, whimsical things. There is a world full of ponies and other beautiful creatures. There's a world full of color, nice music, and maybe some of the worst writing in history. Don't take this the wrong way, but I seriously want to, judge this from a technical point of view. And since I'm going to, judge this from a technical point of view, I don't really want to be mean to everybody who made this show or who really done their best, but I really got to do this from a technical point of view. So please, creators, if you see this and if you listen to this, please don't take it personal. I'm just going to be as honest as possible about the whole show. So, first of all, the whole overall looks of the show. First of all, the presentation that this animated show has to offer. Because it is actually quite well done. Is it one of the best animation or presentation ever? Well, for its time, actually, it is fantastic. I mean, its art direction is pretty well done, and the overall animation is just well done too. It's just a good-looking show. Sure, it's not perfect, but that doesn't mean it's not good. Like I'm saying, the animation is just well done. Is it because I'm a brony? No, I would have liked the animation anyway. Like I already said in the special announcement video, if I would judge this from a brony point of view, I would have said I liked it anyway. It doesn't really matter what it is. But if I would look at it technically, the animation is well detailed. Even the area around the characters are just done in a very good way. So yeah, the animation is well done. But what about its looks? What about its color? Well, it's surely colorful. Let me just tell you that. The whole color is well done too. Like I'm already saying, from a technical point of view, the color is pretty good. It's just a nice package deal. I mean, there is something likable about the presentation. It's colorful and animation is very well done. It's actually very good. But is it something special? Is it one of the best looking animated shows in the history of cartoons? No, not really, but it has charm and a very fun look to it. It has its own style. The animation, the color, the character design, it's just wonderfully put together. It's like you get a present and that present is so perfect. It's not like $1 million or anything. Everything together is just perfect. Like I'm saying, if I would look at the presentation, if I would look at it like how I like the show, it's just a fine package for anybody to enjoy. I mean, this animated show was meant for little girls, and I know that. And even though it was meant for little girls, I can still look from a technical point of view that this is perfect for little girls in terms of looks, in terms of animation and stuff like that. Most shows that I see that are meant for the littlest kids, I have a little niece and I sometimes watch animated shows with her. Sometimes the animation, it's nothing too special, but in this animated show, the mix between color, animation, how it all looks, character design, the whole area design, the whole thing around it is just wonderfully done. This is a good looking animated show, and I really can't tell enough how much I technically think it is wonderfully done. Is it because I'm a brony? No, I would have liked it anyway. I can promise you that. Trust me. This won't be a 100% positive review. But what I can say is that the overall looks of the whole show is just wonderfully done. And there are even some nice special effects in here. It's just looked nicely drawn. And it's done well. It's so colorful, so cute, so sweet. But of course, are there any downsides to its looks? Well, like I'm saying, it's done in Flash. Is that a bad thing? No, I think they've done the best what they can do with Flash. And maybe they could have done it a little bit better, but no, actually it's almost perfect. It's perfect enough for people to enjoy and to be found, that it looks like a masterpiece. So in terms of look, presentation, color, and animation, all those things combined, it's done so well. Another thing that I really want to mention in terms of presentation is the music. I didn't mention music yet. I mean, sure, like I'm saying, those other elements that I just talked about is a nice package, but what about the music? Well, the music is also pretty excellent. I don't consider the music in the whole first season to be better than the animation and color and looks and presentation and character design, but it's still wonderful. Sure, music isn't the same as animation and presentation and character design and colors, but still I would say that the music is wonderful done. Yet again, it's perfect. Does it need a high score? Does it need to be fantastic? Wow. Yes, of course it needs to be good, and it needs to have a nice ring to it, a nice tune. And I'm not talking about the songs. No, I'm purely talking about how the music is, the background music. And the background music, it's perfect for this animated show. The creators, Lauren Foss, and of course the music composers, they've done such a wonderful job with the world of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Like I said, the whole world is nicely created, and the music just goes right with it. And I've already talked about the animation, how perfect the animation is, but the music is almost just as perfect. It fits with the show. It sounds good. It could almost be like, I won't say movie. I won't say it's done by John Williams, but I can tell you this, that the overall music just sounds perfect for this animated show. This animated show is pretty good. I mean, I already told you how good the animation is. I mean, I don't really mean this from a Brody point of view, but I really mean this from a technical point of view, that the music is well done. It's simple, but it's so well done. I mean, the animation isn't simple. The animation looked fantastic overall. The looks of the show, the art direction, wonderful, and the music is just as perfect. Maybe not as good. If I would give a 9.5 to the presentation, the looks, the colors, the animation, the music would get a 9.3. I know it's not much, but looking at it technically, I'm a pretty much of a perfectionist thinker. If I look at aspects from a technical point of view, I sometimes do that, thinking of scores. So the music feels wonderful. So yeah, I would say that the overall music of the whole first season of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is just wonderful done, and it's just amazing. But what about the voice actresses? What about the characters? What about the voices chosen for these ponies? Well, before I want to do that, I want to make an introduction to the ponies. First we have Twilight Sparkle. She's a smart little unicorn that's not very social, but she's very smart, but maybe a little bit rude on the other side. I mean, I'm talking about the first episode. I mean, you're being introduced with these characters, so there is a certain introduction to these characters. And at first, Twilight Sparkle seemed a little bit rude, but she turned out to be a very kind-hearted pony that just knows how to make friends, and it kind of turns her into a different kind of pony. But still, she's very smart, she's good with magic. Then she has an assistant called Spike, a baby dragon who is not a very compelling character, but he's loyal and you can trust him, and he's just normal, nothing too special about his personality, but it's a good friend of hers and you can trust him with anything. Then first she meets Applejack. Applejack is this friendly, hardworking, social pony that kind of developed herself in other episodes. So because these two episodes has like Twilight Sparkle in them, and Twilight Sparkle is being introduced way more than the other characters in this episode, so Applejack is being introduced in other characters. And if there will be other reviews, I will talk about Applejack in more detail. But yeah, Applejack is a good-hearted, hardworking, social person. Then we have Rainbow Jack. At first, she's this, this athletic, boastful, swanky, but she is very athletic. She is very trustworthy to her friend. I mean, in episode 2, you kind of see that how much she, chooses her friends over her own heart's desire, She is, like I'm saying, she is boastful. Then we of course stumble across Rarity. Well, this is one of my least favorite pony of the main 6. She is, she's pretty tough. I mean, in episode 2, she even fights against a manticore, but until her hair gets all messed up. So, like I'm saying, she's pretty tough, but she doesn't like to get dirty. She has to look good. I mean, she is very shallow, but she's a real lady, and there's something kind about her. And she's the kind of pony that cares about looks, but also respect other ponies for who they are, even though she's a bit shallow. Then she stumbled across Fluttershy. Now, Fluttershy is this very patient pony that is, careful with words. But, the first time you see her in the first episode, she's a bit rude and awkward because she's so shy that she doesn't like to say much. she's hiding behind her hair and stuff like that. But later she turned out to be this kind, nicest pony you will ever see, and she is my favorite pony. So maybe the first attempt, maybe the first meeting, in the first episode, I didn't like her as much, but sometime even in episode 2 she gets better character development, and in our other episodes she will be better developed. Then, last but not least, Twilight Sparkle meets Pinkie Pie. A little bit of a childish, very loud-mouthing, but she's very social and very friendly. She does parties for everybody, and she's always there to make people feel good. She's my second favorite pony, you could say. She's a very likable character. So those are the main characters of this animated show. I should mention Celestia, but trust me, I will do that. I will do that. What can I say about the main characters of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic that I should mention? Well, they are interesting to say the least. Are they technically good? I would say, as a little girl show, that this is a very, very good characters. I mean, not only is the voice acting well done, like I already said, I want to talk about the voice acting as well. The voice acting is done fantastically. The personalities, the way they are, certain emotions emerge so well in the voice acting. The voice acting is done perfectly. Yet again, it's another perfect deal for your voice acting. There's a lot I can say about the characters. They are kept. Okay, let me try to explain. It is kept simple, but yet the characters are very deep because of the voice acting from the voice actors who are doing fantastic jobs, and how the characters are being introduced. Because these characters, even though there isn't too much to say about these characters, there's a certain depth that is well enough to keep it entertained. It is well enough for girls to understand, and it's even a little deep for a little girl show. The whole characters are being done so well. Sure, most characters, and I'm talking about the other 5, except Twilight Sparkle, the characters has to develop into the first season, and it's done pretty well. I'm going to talk about that in other reviews, if there will be other reviews, but the characters are being introduced very well and are being developed pretty well. You see their personality way more. I mean, little girls can enjoy it because it's not too hard to understand, and everybody can enjoy the personalities because there's a certain depth to it. That's mainly because of the voice acting, and that's mainly because of the writing of these characters. I like the characters, and the main reason why I like My Little Pony is because of the characters, but technically speaking, it is done simple yet deep. So the characters are done with the personalities mainly because of the voice acting and how the characters are represented. Of course, they look good as well, so it's just wonderful done how the characters are being done. The characters are very well written. So you might say, hey, this show is actually pretty good. From a technical point of view, its design, the characters, the voice acting, it's done so well. And don't forget, of course, the music. But now comes for a different part of the review. I haven't been negative yet. Well, let me tell you something. The overall look of the show is fantastic. The music, the characters, the voice acting, it's done wonderful. It's almost perfect, but perfect enough for this type of show, like I already said. But there's also a dark side. If I would look at this animated show from a technical point of view, in writing, it's not that great. First, I want to look at the first episode and the writing it has. The first episode in writing is pretty good. I mean, the introduction of Twilight Sparkle is well done. The humor is sometimes kind of funny too, except that part where Spike doesn't even know how to write the word brink. The overall humor is just done pretty well, especially when Twilight Sparkle meets Pinkie Pie. Yeah, that was pretty funny. But overall, I would say that the humor is just fine, but it's more subjective rather than objective. But subjectively speaking, I like the humor. So the first episode is pretty good. From the writing point of view, it's not bad. I mean, sure, Twilight Sparkle isn't really the most social person in the world. I mean, she doesn't really want to make friends. She just, wants to lock herself up in the library and just keep on reading. I mean, there isn't too much to say about it. I mean, she's just going from pony to pony. She meets them. The personalities that the characters has are being shown pretty well in this episode, but the whole overall storyline about her not want to make friends, but yet the Ponyville ponies really want her as a friend, because Rainbow Dash says like, I can't wait to hang out some more. Rarity says like, you and I are going to be the best of friends. The thing is about these Ponyville ponies, they're the social kind. And Twilight Sparkle is like, oh, I don't want to be friends, because the whole idea of this animated show is that they just want to be friends. Is that, without friendship you can't do anything. Because Twilight Sparkle is very talented with magic, but without friends she won't be able to do it. The whole writing behind that idea is very well done. I mean, sure, it's like, make friends, you can become everything, but the way it's been shown, it's not bad. So the first episode about the others want to be friends with her, but she doesn't really want to, and then Nightmare Moon's return, and there is where the writing goes down. So the positive points about the writing, the whole writing behind her having some friends, because Twilight Sparkle is the leading character of this animated show, and you're kind of in her shoes, and everybody wants to be friends with her, and she doesn't want to because she wants to stop Nightmare Moon. She becomes friends with them anyway because it's necessary to defeat Nightmare Moon. So the whole idea about having friends, this animated show does it pretty well. But here is where the negative starts. I've been pretty positive about this animated show. Not because I'm a Brody, but I watch this from a technical point of view. Like I'm saying, the animation is fantastic, the music is very good, and the whole overall presentation, voice acting, and voice actors are doing a very nice job. I can't really complain about that, even though it might be for little girls. Technically speaking, it's a very well-made show. Will it win any prizes? Probably. It could make chances, and maybe there are even better looking shows than My Little Pony, but it's done well, especially for this kind of show. It's fun, but mostly it's technically well done. But now comes the negative part of the writing. I've been pretty positive about the writing, so I was thinking let's get that out of the way, because even though this review takes a long time, I already know that, but there's so much to talk about the negatives in the writing. I've been talking about the main aspects. So when I talked about how the animated show looks, how the animated show is, the voice acting, the music, that happens in every episode. But how are these two episodes as a whole in the beginning? You can only judge the writing, obvious, if you want to judge every episode on its own. The writing it's mediocre at worst. You might say, whoa, you've been positive about the writing. Yes, I have. The whole idea of her making friends so that she can stop Nightmare Moon it's pretty good. And the first episode is pretty well written. But the second episode, is it technically good writing? No. Now, let me start off. Of course, the show was meant for little girls, and it shows. Still, there are so many plot holes in episode 2 that I lost count. It feels like the writers didn't need to try to fill the plot holes. Like, how is it that Princess Celestia doesn't try to stop Nightmare Moon for her return? She even mentioned it somewhere in episode 2 that she saw signs of Nightmare Moon's return. If she saw signs of her return, why not be prepared for it? I mean, Celestia even disappears because of Nightmare Moon's return. I know that she mentioned that Twilight Sparkle would stop Nightmare Moon,
but you could not unleash it until you let true friendship into your heart. Now if only another will as well. Princess Luna. It has been 1,000 years since I have seen you like this. Time to put our differences behind us. We were meant to rule together, little sister. Sister? Will you accept my friendship?
but why not inform Twilight Sparkle about it? Sure, Twilight Sparkle did stop Nightmare Moon with the elements of harmony, but how can Celestia know that the other 5 elements are in Ponyville? In episode 23, the Cutie Mark Chronicles, Celestia discovers that Twilight Sparkle has an extreme talent for magic. So that explains the reason why Celestia thinks and knows that Twilight is the so-called 6th element, but it doesn't even explain how Celestia knows where the other 5 are. And about that part where Celestia knows that Twilight Sparkle is the 6th element, why not use the elements again yourself? I mean, it went perfectly 1,000 years ago. And how did Celestia install her magic? Why does she need 6 ponies to use the elements of harmony all of a sudden? Ponies that were meant to wield the elements of harmony? How does that even work? Celestia was the one that created the elements of harmony. Did Celestia look into the future and knew that she had to make her magic different so that other ponies that represent the elements of harmony could wield it? And how did she know that these 6 are the elements? It's never explained. And why is the story of Luna changing into Nightmare Moon and Celestia stopping her considered an old pony still by many ponies? Celestia was right there 1,000 years ago. Maybe Celestia is protecting her subjects from something, but yet again it feels like lazy writing. Okay, 1,000 years ago, Celestia might not knew that Nightmare Moon would return and that she have only seen signs of Nightmare Moon's return, but like I already said, it's better to be prepared for it. Don't assume that Twilight Sparkle is going to do it and Twilight have to figure out that making friends is the most important mission for her. It's never explained that if Twilight Sparkle needs to make friends in Ponyville, that she would stumble on the elements of harmony and even have to befriend them. How did Celestia know that? It is never explained good enough. I know that I am hammering on the Celestia character way too much, but this just proves that I just dislike Celestia as a character. Whoa, there was a lot of information on one character. But that isn't all. I just explained in a nutshell what I dislike about the whole Princess Celestia story. But there are some other small pieces of writing that I just don't get, like how Princess Luna turns into Nightmare Moon. The whole story about Luna changing into Nightmare Moon because of her jealousy feels a bit weird. Her appearance changed as well, so it even makes it more strange. I mean, how in the world does it even work? They should have explained it a whole lot better. And another thing that I just don't get is why Nightmare Moon sometimes doesn't try hard enough to stop the main 6 from reaching the elements in episode 2. Okay, she tries to throw them off a cliff and let a Manticore fight the main 6, but what else are the terrible threats that Nightmare Moon throws at the main 6? Trees. Trees with scary faces. Trees with scary faces that don't move at all. They are just scary looking. And don't forget the honesty that Applejack represents in the 2nd episode. Instead of telling Twilight that Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy are waiting to catch her, she tells Twilight not to worry and that Twilight can drop by herself so that Applejack can show her element. And that's just the whole thing. The way the 5 ponies are represented by their element isn't well done either. Like I said, the whole friend making is very well done, but on the other side, the whole discovery of the elements aren't well done either. Like I already said, I mean, you have Applejack who's like telling, Twilight Sparkle, hey, sure, you can drop yourself, but it's because it's going to be alright. That's the most honest thing that I can tell you. But I bet if Rainbow Dash was there to get her, if Rarity was there to get her, they would have told her the same thing. They would have just been honest. But no, we have to prove that Applejack is the element of honesty. And what do you think about Rarity's element? Well, I just don't get her element at all. I mean, she is generosity, but in other episodes, I know I should talk about this one episode, but the only link I want to make is the whole Rarity element. I mean, she is generous in this episode, giving her tail, and she's like, oh, it will grow back, She gives her tail to the dragon so the dragon looks good. Okay, but the thing is, in other episodes, she isn't as generous as all. I mean, she is supposed to be the element of generosity, but in the end, she is normal generous. Sometimes she's generous and sometimes she's not. I'm gonna point that out in other reviews if there will be other reviews, but overall, I don't like her discovery of her element all that much. That is just to name a few examples of why I think the writing behind discovering their elements isn't well done, like with Rainbow Dash. I mean, Rainbow Dash chooses her friends over to be in a team of a sport that I don't even know what's about. Is it running, I mean, she wants to be with the Wonderbolts, but what I just don't get is what kind of sport does the Wonderbolt do? I just don't get it all that much. But, she wants to be a part of it, so okay. But all of a sudden you have these Shadow Balls. I know they are an illusion of Nightmare Moon. What I do think it's good is that she has to choose between the Shadow Balls and her friends, and she chooses her friends. So I guess that's okay, I guess that's fine. And I'm not so sure if the other ponies would choose their heart's desire for their friends. I just don't know that, I think Applejack would choose her friends instead of her heart's desire. But overall, Rainbow Dash, okay. But if she knows so much about the sport that the Wonderbolts are doing, should she knows other teams as well? I mean, if the Shadow Bolts are an illusion of Nightmare Moon, she should know that, oh, this is a fake team, because sure, it's never explained that, you know, I mean, the Shadow Bolts doesn't really tell her like, oh, we are in this division. I mean, how does it even work? I know I look way too much into it, but Rainbow Dash is supposed to be this, you know, Wonderbolts fan, and she's supposed to know, I mean, all the teams, you know, she's supposed to know all the divisions because she's a huge fan of it. And it's like she doesn't know it at all. It's like she's only a fan of the Wonderbolts and that's it. I mean, I don't think she knows the other divisions as well, or else she would have known that, oh wait, this is a fake team because, you know, I know every team in the sports that Wonderbolts does. So, well, I don't know. I know I look way too much into this, but I find it kind of strange. I mean, she couldn't have heard of the Shadow Bolts. It's like a team that doesn't exist. So how can she fall for it? Like, oh, this is a real team. I want to be a part of that team. But instead, you know, she should supposed to go like, hey, wait a minute. I don't know any Shadow Bolts because it doesn't exist. I'm sorry, I'm ranting way too much about it, but this is what I think about the writing. I don't think the writing isn't anything good, especially in the second episode. I mean, in the first episode, the writing is okay, but in the second episode, it's not very well done. And I don't mean to be mean, or I don't mean to be criticizing, but Miss Lauren Faust, who wrote these two episodes, by the way, has to be doing a much better job. The writing in the first episodes, it's okay from a technical point of view. Sure, it's not perfect, but as a little girl show, the writing actually is pretty good. But the writing in the second episode, it's like the whole friend making is well done, but everything around it isn't well done. Like in the beginning of the second episode, Twilight Sparkle goes back to the library to look on information on the elements, but out of nowhere, the other main six, like Rainbow Dash and Applejack and, you know, Fluttershy, have followed her. Is it just luck, or is this, you know, bad directing? Like I'm saying, you know, the 5 that she needs to go with are all of a sudden there. I mean, where's the rest of the village? Why does these 5 follow them? I know Rainbow Dash saw her run away, so she's kind of like, where is she going? But the other 4, like Rarity, you know, and Pinkie Pie, are there too. I mean, why? Why are they there? I mean, sure, they are like, okay, we should follow her. We should follow Twilight Sparkle because she knew who Nightmare Moon was, but where's the rest of the village? I mean, shouldn't everybody be, like, interested into what she has to say? Whew. Well, I just named a couple of things why I dislike the writing. I mean, with Princess Celestia is being one of the worst characters I've ever seen in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I'm not saying, is it a technically good character? No, because she's missing a lot of plot. Even at the end of episode 2, there she is. Where has she been? You know, but I've already explained it in a nutshell about what I think about the writing. And is it anything technically good? Well, I would say that the episode 2 isn't technically great, and that episode 1 is pretty well done. So, yeah. Well, that was my review. I would say that these 2 episodes is a okay introduction to the whole animated show. Of course, the main aspects are pretty well done, like in every episode. So the whole My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is very well done. But the writing in these 2 episodes combined, it's mediocre to say the least. I mean, they should have done it better. But overall, I had a lot of fun with these 2 episodes. Okay, this was my review of the first 2 episodes of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, simply called Friendship is Magic Part 1 and Part 2. I really want to thank you guys for watching. If you have any more criticism, if you have any more pointers, if you have anything what I could do to make more reviews better, please put them in the comments. If you like this review, give me a thumbs up. If you dislike this review, give me a thumbs down, that I know what to do next. Because like I already said in the special announcement video, if people really like this, I'm going to make more. And if you dislike this review, please give me a thumbs down, and at least I know what to do. Thank you so much for watching, by the way, and I'll see you guys the next time. Goodbye, everybody, and thanks for watching.